Hello everyone and welcome. In this video clip we are going to complete Lab 4 from our virtualization course. This is going to be configuring VCSA initially. To do that, I am going to start by launching my web browser. Although the book says use Chrome, we are going to be using Firefox because it supports Flash much better. And here we go. I'll set Firefox as my default. Now in the address bar, I'm going to put in HTTPS, important to make sure we use secure, 192.168.70.10, and in this case port 5480. Very important to make sure we get the right port. It's going to tell us the login is not secure, which is fine. That's because of the self-signed certificate on VCSA. I'll go into advanced. I'll add an exception. I'll say I want to confirm the security exception, and we have the login page. Username root, password VMware, and we'll log in. First thing we need to do, accept the license agreement. I'll do that. And the next step on our wizard is going to be specifying how we want to configure the location of the databases and such for VCSA. Now we're going to use default configuration. We're not going to do anything fancy and have separate databases or anything like that. I will say go ahead and configure with the default. Go next. It's going to check that everything is okay and then allow us to start. Now this process is actually going to take several minutes, so I'm going to pause the video here and we'll be back when we're ready. Okay, we are back. We can see that this is finished up. We have green check marks beside everything. I'm just going to close. And what we'll see now on our main page is that a number of the different services are up and running. So server, inventory service, database and secure sign-on or single sign-on are all embedded. So we're pretty much ready to go from that perspective. Now, a couple things we need to do is we'll do a quick check on the network. We'll see that we have the right gateway, the right DNS server. Our IP address is good. The last thing we want to do, and this is going to be Lab 4 Task 1 Supplemental, is change the password from VMware to Secret55 so it matches everything else we do. Going to select on admin, and we can put in the current administrator password, VMware, change that to Secret55. I am not going to have the password expire. We will allow login via SSH, and that's basically all we need to do. So I'll come down and submit. We can see that the operation was successful. We're basically ready to go at this point. So I'm finished with task number 1. Task number 2 is going to be entering some license keys. So what I'm going to do is log out from this account. And you can either change this window. I'm going to create a new one. And we're going to go back to our same IP address. So VCSA 192.168.70.10, but we're going to change the port to 9443. And that's the port that we typically use to sign on and do administrative work in vCenter. So I'll launch that. And if I could spell correctly, we'd be in good shape. Let me try that again. There we go. Again, the connection is not secure because of the self-signed certificate. I'll go advanced, add the exception, and confirm. That will bring up our login screen. Now, one of the things we have to do, this is a Flash plugin, so we're going to have to activate Flash. And I'm going to allow and remember that. And it wants to know if we're going to allow the plugin to run. So I'm going to say allow. And we can see right now that the plugin is blocked. So I'm going to change that to allow and remember so I don't have to do this every time. Okay. And I'm going to put in my credentials of root and now secret 55 because we changed the password. That'll take a second to log in. Let's give that a minute. Right, so we're basically in. You'll notice that there's information that there's vCenter server running without a license key. So right now it is in evaluation mode. I'll say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to hit home. And in administration, we can see something called licensing. So this is one of the first things we're going to do. So we don't have any license keys at this point in time. I'm going to add a license key. And let me see if I can manage to, let me scroll up here a bit, see if I can manage to put this in without typoing anything. All right, I think I've got that. Now what I'm going to do is go next, and it's accepted it. This is good. So we will finish. And that key is now assigned to vCenter server. So our license key is now set up. We're in good shape from that perspective. So that's the end of task 2. Task 3, we need to add a data center. And a data center, as we know, is a logical container that allows us to create hosts and other such things inside of vCenter server. So to do that, what I'm going to do is select home. And I'm going to select the host and clusters view. And in getting started, scroll down here a bit, we'll see something called Create Data Center. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the data center training as per the lab document. And we will see in a second that we have our data center created here. So this is our training data center. And that's basically it for task 3, so that was pretty easy. The last task we have is to add our ESXi hosts into our training center. So I'm going to select my training center. I have a few different things that we can do here. I'm going to add a host. And it will take us through our wizard. So the first thing is the name or the IP address of the host. This is going to be ESXi1.itss.local. Needs username and password for the host. So that'll be root and secret 55. It's prompting that we have a certificate that is not trusted. That's because it's self-signed. I'll say that's okay. And basically, here's our summary. We're good to go with that. And again, we don't have a license key. So like before, we're going to add a new license key in. So we see at the top here, it says assign an existing license key, but one does not exist. So I'm going to pick the drop down Say I want to assign a new one. Once again, let's see if I can put this in without typoing anything. Now, one of the easiest ways to find out if you typoed is to hit Decode and see if it tells us something. It does give us some information. Don't worry about this thing that says that it couldn't decode all the features. So since we know that that's okay, I'm going to say next. I do not want to enable lockdown mode, so next. Where do I want to put the host, or the VMs that are on the host in training is fine for now. I'll say next, and we'll say finish. Notice over here that our process has started, so the host is being added in. When this is finished, we'll simply see the host that will exist over here in the training center, the training data center object. In fact, I'll just expand that out. And here's our host. It says disconnected because the job is not quite finished yet. Once it's done, it will no longer say disconnected. Now, the only thing we have left to do is add the second ESXi host. You've seen how to do that once. I'm sure you can figure out how to do it on your own. We can see that the job is now basically finished. This is not showing any errors any longer. This will be finished up in just a second. So that's the end of this video. Hope it was helpful, and we'll see you next time.